Thank you so much. Today, I would like to present myself in this conference. I would like to present a paper regarding on macroeconomic determinant of economic growth in Turkey and Bangladesh, a time series analysis. I'm Sheikh Abdul Kader, Assistant Professor of Economics in Jagannath University, Bangladesh, and I am doing my PhD in Saqqara University at the Department of Economics. In this paper, my co-author are Professor Dr. Ali Kabasakal and Dr. Abidin Öncel. Today, I would like to talk about the macroeconomic determinant of economic growth of Turkey and Bangladesh. We'll make a time series analysis regarding on some data, and we'll give a good way to see what are the factor affect the economic growth of Turkey and what are the factor affect the economic growth of Bangladesh. Normally, Turkey and Bangladesh reflect a favorable yet uneven picture. The volume of yearly bilateral trade between Turkey and Bangladesh has expanded to approximately $1 billion over the previous decade. It will be increasing day by day. Commercial ties between Turkey and Bangladesh have strengthened over the past decade. By the researcher, we see that it will be developing by day. The Turkey Institute of Statistics report show that the bilateral commercial reached at around $858 million in 2018. Turkish carpet industry is highly reliant on Bangladesh jute, and the textile industry contributes significantly to bilateral commerce. Bangladesh has exceptional economic and poverty reduction record during the previous decade. They are reducing the poverty day by day, and they're increasing and considered as a developing country by the World Bank ranking. Both two countries are developing countries, but there is some factor which will make Turkey more developed than Bangladesh. So our main destination is to make a comparison of what are the factor and what are the economic growth affected by both countries by those factors. In this content, the article intend to contrast and analyze the parallel and disproportionate macroeconomic growth between Bangladesh and Turkey. We find some literature review, and we also that in the Solus 1 model, there is a long-run technological growth and population growth are important factor for economic growth. Government can also affect the economic growth. And in Lucas 1999, we saw that physical and human capital are important for increasing the economic growth. Also, taxation provide the economic growth in the rate of growth. And in IBANESS in 1995, we see the economic growth is depend most probably on the increase in the average of output produced per year. So we make some literature, and we make a want to show the difference of the literature. What are the effect of Turkey's and Bangladesh economic? Most of the papers show that Turkey, what is the growth of Turkey and what is the growth of Bangladesh, but comparison is not found in most of the literature paper. So our destination is find the comparison between both two countries about the growth related issues. Here we see that Godwin show the monetary increase is an important factor for Turkey's Bangladesh economic growth, and Ulla and Rao also show that GDP is an important rise in GDP is important for any growth or any financial growth. Bishas and Shah show that there is a long-term relationship between GDP and the other determinant, especially the capital formation, employment, export, FDI, money supply have affected economic growth. Here we make the methodology. Here we try to find the long-run economic relationship between GDP and its fundamental macroeconomic determinant has been analyzed for the co-integration technique. The variable we use as a fundamental include, we use log of gross domestic product, GDP for proxy for economic growth, log of gross domestic capital stock as a proxy for physical capital, log of total labor force taken as a proxy for labor growth. And here we also use log of export and log of foreign direct investment, FDI inflow as well as outflow. Here is our model. We show that our model is like this way. Here we show that beta naught, beta 1, x1t, beta 2, x2, 3. I will explain the details here. What are the means of x1, what are the means of x2. Here we can see easily that beta naught, YT is the GDP per capita, beta naught is the constant or intercept term, x1 is the total capital stock, X2 is the labor force, X3 is the total export, X4 is the technological export, X5 is the resource, X6 is the foreign direct inflow, X7 is the foreign direct outflow, T is the deterministic trend, and another one is statistics term, and beta is at the coefficient of the estimated parameter. Here we first make the time series as a stationary when the mean of expected ext of the time series xt is dependent on t, and the variance of xt minus ext to denote does not vary symmetrically with time. A stationary process has the property that mean variance and autocorrelation structure do not change over time. Stationary data depend on whether it has unit root test. Non-stationary data has stochastic or non-random trend, and such they are non-deterministic. Therefore, we see the unit root test. When we use the unit root test here, we see that there is time series data are non-stationary. The standard approach to investigate the stationary of the time series data is unit root test. An augmented Dickery Fuller test proposed to Dickery and the Fuller at 1981 is used basically this step seeks to establish whether a particular time series data is stationary or non-stationary. So our main motto is to find the data, the stationary of the data here. To carry out this test, we use some null hypothesis of a defined stationary, again the alternative hypothesis of 10 stationary, and long-run equilibrium relationship between GDP and its fundamental macroeconomic determinant has been analyzed through the co-integration technique of our paper. Secondarily, the variable are tested for the co-integration to find the convergence test. This is because of the variable that fail to converge in the long run be hazardous to policy making. The theory of co-integration test, we use the model suggested by the Öncel and Granger. Co-integration test hypothesis is like that. Hypothesis. Here we see the hypothesis, and also the null hypothesis, like in this way. Thirdly, we estimate the model to evaluate the performance of the monetary policy on non-oil export. The estimation is carried out by using the ordinary least square technique, which is regarded as the best linear unbiased estimator blue that can be used in evaluating the model of this nature. Here is the Gujarati to 2020. The estimation, however, pre-purpose that the variable possess desirable empirical properties of stationary and the convergence. However, if these desirable properties are not achieved, we use the error correction specification to estimate the equation before using the ordinary least square technique. Now we will go for the unit root test, and the unit root test or ADF test whether the time series have a stationary or not. We find these things in the unit root test, but it was non-stationary and taken the first difference to make it stationary. Here is the ADF result of both countries: GDP, export, technical export, resource, FDI inflow, output, total capital stock, and life. So here from this model, we see that gross domestic product, total capital stock, total labor force, foreign direct investment, export, technique export, and natural resources are stationary at the first differences. Since the ADF value of each variable had the first difference is greater than the McKinnon 5% of critical value. Here we found the Johnson's co-integration test. Here we see that the co-integration test in this table, the results show that there exists 6 co-integration equation at 5% level of significance. This is because the likelihood ratio is greater than the critical value at the 5%. This shows that there exists long-run relationship between economic growth and all the explanatory variables. The result indicate that in the long run, the dependent variable can be efficiently anticipated using the specific independent variable. Thus, the error correction model can be estimated like here I0 implies that variable has significant value without making stationary by taking first order difference of I1 for the others. Here we see the regression result of Bangladesh. These are the regression result. Here we use the log on both sides, and after that we find here the regression result of Turkey as well as, and from this we can make a conclusion that the regression results show that a significant positive relationship between gross capital stock and economic growth. That means if the capital stock is increasing, our economic growth is also increasing. 1% increase in the gross capital stock will reach to about 3.11% and 0.90% increase in the Bangladesh and Turkey's economic growth, respectively. So, from this view, the gross capital stock is an important factor of economic growth in both countries. This results support that the fact that increasing investment side enhance the productivity, which has a spillover effect of economic performance. Particularly among the other factors we have considered, natural resources rent has a negative significant associate with GDP in Bangladesh, and export has a positive significant link with GDP in case of Turkey. 1% increase in natural resources tend to decrease GDP growth by 0.19%, and a percent increase in the export volume in Turkey lead to 0.95% higher economic growth. Total labor force has a significant relationship between economic growth in both economies, suggesting its contribution to economic output is low as a result of the instant strike of worker. So now we find a graphical analysis of both countries. Here we want to show that at 1980 to 1990 and 2000 and 2001, now 2020, what are the trend of the economic growth and what are the factor of the economic growth of Turkey and Bangladesh is increasing, which factor is increasing, which factor is decreasing by time to time. Here we can find a comparison, and we can say that Turkey export growth is higher than Bangladesh. Foreign direct investment inflow has risen over the period for both countries, while its outflow shown as a steady-state pattern of Turkey, but for Bangladesh it is rising up for years. Total capital stock for Turkey shown a volatility in the late 80s, which started to improve since early 90s, while it is diminishing over the year for Bangladesh. For both countries, labor force has exhibited a flat curve in 1999. In 1990. So from this overall, we can make a conclusion that Turkey is a developing country by the World Bank ranking in 2020, and Bangladesh also developing country. But what are the factor we find? Which factor affect Turkey make more developing country than Bangladesh? Our main conclusion and main logo is that our aim is that normally we see that in the previous literature exactly on the show the causal relationship between product and the economic growth. There is no study which has investigated the relationship in both countries comparatively, but we find the relationship in both countries comparatively in this paper. How economic growth is significantly influenced by capital stock, labor force, export, technology, resource, foreign direct investment, foreign direct investment inflow, foreign direct investment the outflow. Primarily, this study assumed that there is a positive relationship and significant relationship between country total capital stock and labor force with economic growth in the both countries, not only Turkey, but also Bangladesh. We find that hypothesis true for the capital stock, although it cannot be stated that an increase in labor force will contribute the economic growth in these developed economies. Other determinants like foreign direct investment, life expectancy, technological export are found to be insignificant covariates in regression analysis with GDP. Finding from this paper, we can suggest that an increase in capital stock export volume will improve the Turkey's economic growth, whereas Bangladesh economic growth will be benefited if it accumulate more capital stock and lower the natural resource rent. So thank you so much to hearing my presentation here, and I hope it will be beneficial for the next researcher who can easily find to comparatively developing countries or two developing countries like not only Bangladesh and Turkey. They can use this paper to make the comparison of other two developing countries. So thank you so much for allowing me to present my presentation here. Take care. Thank you so much.